CNBC got an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Amazon's new drone delivery service, now live in West Phoenix.
Phoenix, Arizona, the state where basically every single tech company is deciding to develop something. I don't even know what. I mean, you have TSMC with their fabs. I think Intel is also developing their fabs in that same region. What, I don't know because I don't know what's going on because as far as I'm aware, tech needs a lot of water, and Arizona is not known for that.
This drone program is the latest cutting-edge piece of tech to go into service in Phoenix, a city that has seen a massive tech transformation in recent years.
Oh man, imagine you order a laptop or an iPad or anything with a screen, and the drone comes and drops it off like that.
Jenga.
I think this technology is just going to change the way we order.
We're a place that enables these companies to have success, to move quickly and test to validate their technology platforms.
The city has been a long-time hub for aerospace and defense.
The Apache helicopters made here. Base technology is also heavily concentrated here. A lot of med tech here.
A couple of years ago, we located Blue Origin's HQ2.
Now the region is becoming an epicenter for autonomous vehicles and semiconductor manufacturing.
Taiwan Semiconductor make a major investment, $65 billion
There you go, TSMC.
investment here in North Phoenix.
The U.S. business is 65 to 75% of all TSMC's revenue, so the U.S. is very important to TSMC.
Very important, but not important enough to bring their most advanced chips here. They're still reserving that for Taiwan.
While cities like Austin have garnered attention for drawing tech companies away from Silicon Valley, Arizona and Phoenix have been just as competitive. Between 2018 and 2023, the city's tech talent workforce grew by 17.2%.
5 million people, top 5 city, and across all of that.
Phoenix has 5 million people? Seriously? Where? I mean, I've seen images of Phoenix. It doesn't look that big.
We're a place that's very attractive when you want to test new, novel technologies.
Over the last decade, there were
Okay, never mind. It does look pretty big. But what I'm saying is, like, the surrounding suburbs don't seem as expansive as, let's say, LA, San Francisco, stuff like that.
67 technology companies in downtown Phoenix. Today, there's more than 400. I think the next 5 years in Phoenix are going to absolutely dwarf the last 20.
Tech might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Phoenix and you picture it. The city's really better known for its golf courses, retirement appeal.
Wait a second,
Phoenix,
hold on.
and you picture it, the city's really better.
What? Have I been thinking of a completely different city? This looks way too green. Isn't Arizona like a desert? I mean, I'm aware that Texas, like the western part of Texas, is very dry and hot. Kind of, it's very deserty. But I thought the same applied to all states from going west towards California, including New Mexico and Arizona. But this looks very nice.
Known for its golf courses, retirement appeal, and scorching heat. But its growth into a
Well, there you go. Scorching heat.
hub for technology has been playing out over several decades.
Following World War II, there was a mandate that was handed down by the federal government that said sensitive assets could no longer be located on a coast. And so our federal delegation went after a number of those technology companies.
One of those companies, Chicago-based Galvin Electronics, ultimately relocated to the city.
And that grew into what we know as Motorola, which became one of the largest employers.
Is Motorola even relevant nowadays? I think they got bought out by somebody else, right?
Employers in Arizona at 22,000 people.
And that was just the beginning.
In the 1950s, GE Computing was located in Syracuse, New York, and that group succeeded in bringing them back to Phoenix. In the early 1970s, there was this early stage company in Santa Clara, California that was working on semiconductors. So that same delegation went after that company and brought them back here. At that time, it was a little startup company called Intel.
And since
So Intel has been working in Arizona since they started. I had no idea.
then, we've had over 80 semiconductor companies.
The defense industry
80 semiconductor companies? I thought there was only like 3. Well, Samsung, Intel, and TSMC.
in particular has had a major presence.
Whether it's Raytheon or Northrop Grumman or Boeing, but in particular Honeywell.
Honeywell is one of the largest defense companies in the city with its aerospace division headquartered there.
They are human carrier.
What? See, I actually didn't know where a lot of these companies, these military companies, were located. Now, learning that they're located in Arizona is such a bizarre thing to realize.
Drone division, their military drone division, and their delivery drone division is being conceived of here in North Phoenix.
In the past decade, Phoenix has seen enormous change with several new companies transforming the tech scene.
If we look at cities that really do end up becoming these, important technology hubs, there are really 4 things that we usually see, and Phoenix really has all of them. So the first is a favorable business environment. The second really is that ecosystem of other companies. The next is really close proximity to a university that has a strong engineering program. And then finally, it is that availability of talent.
Yeah, true. Although, uh, the fact that it's that Phoenix, like the way this video started, talking about Phoenix, saying, "Oh my goodness, so many companies are going to Phoenix," gave the impression that this is surprising, rather than the way that a lot they're presenting it, saying that it isn't, that it's to be expected.
Phoenix has become a major semiconductor manufacturing hub. It all started with Intel.
Intel started here in the 1960s.
What? Wait. ASML? What are they doing here in Phoenix? Because they're the ones who make the machines that make the processors, but as far as I'm aware, they are a Dutch company and they make the most advanced machines in the Netherlands. So what are they doing in Phoenix? The rest, makes sense, but this one is the one that surprised me the most. That's crazy.
70s, and then grew with its first fab at the Chandler Boulevard campus in the 1980s. And then in the early 1990s, they purchased their Ocotillo campus. So at all said and done, Intel's made about a $30 billion capital investment in the metropolitan Phoenix area. They currently employ about 12,000 people.
In 2020, Intel completed a new 1.3 million square foot fab at its Ocotillo campus in Chandler and has plans to invest another $20 billion building 2 more fabs at the site.
Where is Intel getting this money from? As far as I'm aware, the company is suffering severely right now from defective chips and bad reputation because their chips have been left behind by the competition. So where are they getting this money from? From the government? I mean, at the same time, their GPU has been mildly successful, but that's it.
Once you're in one location, it makes a lot of sense to add more scale to that location. Semiconductors has a very multifaceted, very big supply chain of equipment, chems and gases, all that need to go in those manufacturings. Once that's in one location, it makes it a lot more attractive for the next company to come.
But the semiconductor world has been abuzz with a new entrant into the area, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which makes
The absolute GOAT and the largest manufacturer of the most advanced chips in the world.
the most advanced chips in the world.
TSMC is a
There
really
you go. She just said what I said.
a once-in-a-generation economic development project. This is a $65 billion factory that's building the most world-class chips that go into everything from strike fighters to computers.
We spent 21 and the better part of 22 building this facility. All of 23 we moved in the tools, and in 24 we began engineering pilot runs.
TSMC initially held discussions with the city of Phoenix back in 2016 when it was looking to expand more of its chip manufacturing beyond Taiwan. In order to secure the bid, the Greater Phoenix Economic Council spent 3 years conceptualizing a science and technology park that met the needs of TSMC and its partners.
In Taiwan, they're in the middle of science and tech parks. They really believe in having their suppliers and their vendors and their engineering companies and other like-minded companies where they can walk across the street, where they can go grab a cup of coffee.
That actually makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. Having ASML, Intel, and a bunch of like Raytheon and these sort of companies that focus on more advanced technologies, having them all in like one city makes sense as to why TSMC went to that city rather than, I don't know, set shop in I mean, I'm willing to bet that Utah would have been a cheaper alternative. But and if they truly wanted like top talent, they would have gone to what, Massachusetts? But, you know,
The city was ultimately selected for TSMC's first advanced chip fabrication plant in the U.S. The site, set on a sprawling 1,000-plus acres in northern Phoenix, includes a recently completed fab
I don't know about sprawling, but definitely a large amount of land.
manufacturing 4-nanometer chips with 2 additional fabs under construction that will make more advanced 2-nanometer chips and beyond.
When their original look at Phoenix, it was a $12 billion capital investment and has now moved into a $65 billion capital investment.
I led the site selection team around the U.S., and one of the things that Phoenix did better than any other location, it has a 100-year plan for water. And one of the reasons that we selected Phoenix is it's got redundant power.
Our power companies have a 99.9% uptime. These semiconductor companies that can be, $50 million a minute if they have downtime for a loss of power.
In the Arizona
What? So should I assume that electricity in Arizona is cheap? Not to mention, having 100 years planned for water. I wonder if TSMC changes that. Not to mention, where are they getting their water from?
a desert, water is still a scarce commodity, and chip manufacturing takes a lot of it. The state recently restricted housing development in Phoenix, citing dwindling groundwater supply.
We are working on an
There you go. That's what I was expecting. There was gonna be some sort of counter because obviously it's either industry or housing. It's either industry or housing. Water can't. If there's not enough water, they have to choose. And if they restrict the amount of housing, wait a second. Phoenix prices for housing, they're gonna spike.
industrial reclamation water center. When we get that in place, we will have near zero discharge to waste, which means basically the only water we'll lose is through evaporation.
Now Phoenix is close to breaking ground on the science and technology park it pitched to the company.
That tech park will break ground here in early 2025. At ultimate build out, we expect about 62,000 jobs surrounding TSMC and including TSMC.
They're basically duplicating the science park concept that was pioneered in Taiwan. And what
That's so cool. So basically, it's like what Apple did in Northern California and I forgot where, Palo Alto. It's like what Apple did with their Apple Park, but bigger and arguably better. Because Apple spent $1 billion, and this is already $7 billion.
that does is it solves lots of problems for our smaller suppliers because they don't have to buy land, they don't have to put the infrastructure in place. They can actually rent space and just plug in, and they can be here with us.
Arizona now is definitely going to be known as one of the places to get leading edge semiconductors in the United States.
There's 40 suppliers that have also come from all over Asia, all over Western Europe to invest here in Phoenix. That's creating thousands of jobs, multi-billion dollars of additional investment. This probably goes down as one of the best business cases of success stories in economic development in Arizona's history.
Time to move to Arizona, maybe? I mean, that sounds amazing. If they manage to achieve what they're planning, everyone's gonna, I mean, if who would be, you would be a fool not to travel and get a better job.
Phoenix was already a major hub for hot weather testing. Now it's become a hub for more advanced driverless cars. Over the years, Uber, Cruise, and Waymo have tested their autonomous vehicles in the city.
We're a sandbox for autonomous vehicle testing. It's also long-haul trucks, so 18-wheelers down the freeway. We've got companies that are testing between Phoenix and Tucson.
Just the infrastructure of Phoenix, like the gridded street environment, is quite good for testing. The weather is good for testing. It just made a pretty optimal place to test a lot of these autonomous vehicles.
Waymo, formerly Google's self-driving car project, is the biggest player. The company began testing its autonomous vehicles on the city's streets back in 2017.
We brought in our streets department and our police department, and I'll be honest with you, in the very beginning, they looked at Mayor Gallego and I like we had 6 heads. They're like, you want to do what? Where?
That's so cool. Well, at the same time, this breaks the mold of what I thought Phoenix was. Completely. Like, it's starting to look more like San Francisco than, well, it's starting to look more like what San Francisco used to be than an actual border state city.
Waymo first launched its commercial robo-taxi service in Phoenix. It now operates across 315 square miles in the city.
We are the first airport in the world that you can be picked up or dropped off in a fully autonomous experience.
If we look now, just total number of robo-taxi miles driven, Phoenix is above and beyond other markets. People are doing it in a lot of markets now, but Phoenix is still the biggest area, the most miles driven.
One of the main reasons for its success, policy. Phoenix and Arizona have been welcoming to AV testing.
If you go back even to like 2015, when the technology was pretty nascent and still developing, then Governor Ducey did a lot of executive orders which really reduced barriers, allowing companies to test these vehicles on public streets.
Autonomous vehicle
That is fair. If a state really restricts a lot of puts a lot of restrictions on quote unquote safety, that just stifles innovation and causes people to go somewhere else to see if they can actually innovate.
testing in the city was nearly derailed following the 2018 self-driving Uber accident where a test vehicle with a safety driver struck and killed a pedestrian.
There you go. That's the cost of innovation, I guess.
Following the incident, the company halted testing in the city and ultimately sold off its self-driving division, with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration condemning the lack of state and federal regulation for testing autonomous vehicles. In addition to autonomous vehicles, Phoenix is now seeing automation take to the skies.
I don't know how I feel about Amazon and their drones. There's something ominous about it.
In November, Amazon received regulatory approval to launch its Prime Air drone program in Tolleson, a suburb in West Phoenix.
We don't see this as a test. This is just the first integration into an Amazon fulfillment center, and we'll start scaling way beyond here.
Will everybody be able to get a drone delivery at their house, or what's this going to look like?
That's the plan. So for us, scale is 500 million deliveries a year. We want to make this delivery method available to customers all around the world.
Drone delivery has been a long-time focus for the company, which first unveiled plans for that concept more than a decade ago.
A decade? Well, I mean, they've been improving, I guess, but that's a long time.
Family has decided you want to order Jenga. Added to my cart, delivery by drone. We place the order like you would at any other package.
Okay.
And you just place
delivered by 3:11,
Yep.
so 61 minutes. Delivery with drone, it says clearly you have to pay $9.99.
Yep.
Is there ever a time where this will be part of the Prime subscription? Okay.
We're working through it.
It makes me wonder what's gonna happen once robots do everything. They package your stuff, move it around the warehouse, set it, put it or place it on a drone. The drone leaves, and the drone delivers it. Like what? Once there's zero human interaction, there's like literally no humans working in any part of the supply chain. Uh, what are humans going to do? I mean, clearly they're gonna need engineers, right? Because they need maintenance for the robots and whatnot. But what about regular people?
Suhang will pick the order down the bottom here. It'll say it's a drone order. Those boxes have a dampering mechanism inside that we call a trampoline. It actually is dampened when it falls from the drone. From the moment you clicked to the moment she's picked and packed, that's 15 minutes. We call it Prime Air Drone Delivery Centre. This facility, as is set up to do hundreds of deliveries a day.
So talk me through the design here. 6 propellers, it looks like.
There's 6 of them. We've designed the system in its entirety. If we lose a motor, we can fly on the other 5 and come home safely. The props were designed by us to reduce noise. 6 cameras, that's how we know what's happening around us and what's happening underneath us. This drone, as compared to our previous drone, is half the cost.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that thing. That looks so inefficient and ugly.
Flies twice the distance and is half as loud. We have 2 takeoff pads and you have a couple of landing pads at the back here. Those pads will continue to cycle. 5, 6, 7 years out, we'll have this drone and we'll have other drones to do other missions. This is just the beginning.
The boom in tech activity in Phoenix has created tons of high-paying job opportunities.
We've moved from the average wage of a job in 2014 at $30,000. At the end of 2023, it was $84,000.
How much is that? Like 2.5 2.5x? Jesus.
Demand
for engineers has also been a major boon for local universities.
Arizona State University currently has 30,000 engineering students that are on campus today.
This year we'll produce 7,500 engineers or more, largest producer of engineers in the country. We have one of the largest incubators for new semiconductor.
Really? They have the largest supply of basically supply of engineers in the country. That's I feel kind of bad now. Because I thought that I would have expected like some place such as MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, to produce the most amount of engineers, or someplace like Cal Poly, you know, California Polytechnic, stuff like that, because those schools are known for engineering students. But I guess not.
Companies in the world.
TSMC has been struggling to find skilled workers. The U.S., which once led in semiconductor manufacturing, lacks a talent pool of advanced chip engineers, forcing the company to create some of its own programs. Since the start of its Arizona fab, TSMC has sent some 600 engineers to train in Taiwan and brought over experts from its headquarters on temporary 3-year assignments.
Ultimately,
good thing is they're not replacing the American engineers with foreign engineers. So props to them.
we may need 20,000 in workforce for TSMC on the semiconductor technician and engineering side. We have created, in partnership with TSMC, the country's first registered apprenticeship training program in semiconductor technician.
And the city expects the impressive growth to continue.
We picked Arizona and Phoenix in particular because we've got over 1,100 acres here. The idea is we want room to be able to grow. And
I mean, yeah, they chose one of the best states for that. I mean, I've already been proven wrong by seeing Phoenix, but I still believe that most of Arizona is barren land.
And I won't speculate beyond what the 3 fabs that we're building are,
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like most of that is just barren.
but there's plenty of land for us to grow.
Jeez. That's really cool. Especially, I wonder. Okay, I wonder what uh Phoenix is gonna look like 10 years from now. Like, I remember people expecting technological cities in in the coasts of the U.S., either the east or the west, or possibly even on the Mississippi River, because normally people develop near large bodies of water. It only makes sense. But seeing a major city being developed, a technological city no less, being developed in what is seemingly considered a desert is so cool, so impressive. But anyway, that is Phoenix now, I guess.